Okay, you have your NFL Divisional round power ranking. So I'll be ranking every team still left in the playoffs. So at number 8, I have the Green Bay Packers. Really surprising upset win against the Cowboys. The Packers, their offense, Jordan Love looked great. Everything was clicking for the Cowboys or for the Packers against the Cowboys. Jordan Love, Aaron Jones went crazy. That Packers defense actually did something. That Joe Barry defense actually did play the pretty good game versus um, the Cowboys. Unfortunately, they're playing the Niners and Packers. They are a really young team. They've been playing out of their minds, but ultimately, I think those inexperience will cost them. Aaron Jones, I think if he gets rolling, I think they have a chance to upset the Niners. But I feel like that Packers offense rolls off of Aaron Jones playing well, and Jordan. Mainly off of Aaron Jones playing well, because once Aaron Jones plays well, I think Jordan Love plays as well, though not always. But there's inexperience to me, it makes them probably the weakest team. And Joe Barry, that defense, they did have a better game versus the Cowboys, but I feel like that defense is still a very big liability despite all the talent. And number 7, I have the Houston Texans. They're coming off a win against the Browns, and Texans live and die based off of how Stroud does. They could become like the 2021 Cincinnati Bengals, a young, very young team as well. Their defense, um, pretty much cracked open the game for them last year with 2 pick sixes. Defense has been playing isn't horrible, but I still don't really trust them. Their defense doesn't really have any star player, but they do have a good coach in D'Amico Ryans. But like I said, Texans, I think they ride and die based off of how Stroud does. Their offense really overly dependent on Stroud, and if Stroud does really well, I feel like the Texans should be higher on this power rankings, but their over reliance on him kind of drags it down because other than Stroud, their team isn't overly talented. But if Stroud does well, this team is going to go flying. Number 6, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They played a very good game versus the Eagles. Baker has been played a great game versus the Eagles. Tampa Bay, their offense isn't overly reliant. They have very good wide receivers as well in Mike Evans, and their running game isn't horrible, but kind of below average. But that Buccaneers defense, I know that gave them a lot of flack, but they're not the best defense, but they're not the worst defense. That blitz heavy defense definitely caused problems for the Eagles, and could potentially cause other problems to the Lions, and definitely mask some of their weaknesses. But like I said, I still don't really trust their secondary. Their secondary is a glaring spot to me, but their defensive line is good, and their offense right now is rolling. Definitely not as experienced or have as much battle experience as the other teams, but definitely better than I say the Texans or the Packers. Number 5, I have the Kansas City Chiefs. They definitely played better versus the Dolphins, but they don't look like the same old Chiefs. That defense is really, really good. Trent McDuffie, Chris Jones, um, make their defense playing great right now. But their offense still not really sure. I know I can't put them below Tampa Bay, Texans, or Packers because the Chiefs usually play better in the playoffs. But those wide receivers dropping passes, Kelsey, Chiefs don't really have much outside of Pacheco and Rice, and I think that can be concerning. But their defense definitely makes them a threat. Number 4, I have the Buffalo Bills. Um, the only reason I have them above the Chiefs is because Josh Allen does a lot better during the playoffs. He had a very good game versus the Steelers. That Bills offense, Josh Allen did just great against the Steelers, but that Bills defense continues to get more and more injured. They lost Bernard, their cornerback or their linebacker, and they lost another cornerback, and that's definitely concerning, which is probably why I don't have them over the other 3 teams, mainly because of their defensive injuries. But their offense with Josh Allen looks great in the playoffs. James Cook wasn't great, wasn't bad, but Josh Allen is a monster in the playoffs. Number 3, I have the Detroit Lions. They're coming off a close win over um, the Rams, and like I said, pretty much this whole season, their team on paper looks really good, but definitely some cohesiveness, some coaching. I know I like Dan Campbell, but I'm not his coaching. Like the X's and O's, I'm still slightly concerned about on the Lions' part, and the aggressiveness. But when they're on, they are on. Jared Goff, Amon Ra, Gibbs, Laporta, that offense is loaded with talent. Their defense isn't far behind. And Lions can, if they can play three very even game. I can see them winning the Super Bowl, but they just haven't shown it throughout this season just yet, which is why I still have them at 3. And number 2, obviously, I have the San Francisco 49ers. They were sitting on a bye, but definitely probably one of the most talented teams that actually put it on the field. Their defense, led by Fred Warner, has been stifling even the top opponents like the Eagles and the Cowboys. Their offense do have some question marks about how well they play against good teams, but Brock Purdy, very good quarterback. They have a lot of talent. They have a very good um, head coach, and definitely they're much better than I say every other team below them significantly. There's like a gap between number 2 and number 3. Niners definitely one of the Super Bowl favorites for NFC. And obviously you have your number 1, the Baltimore Ravens. They were on the bye, but so far this season, especially late in the season, against better quality opponents, the Ravens have just gotten hotter and hotter and hotter. Um, their defense, very good this season, continues to be very good even against some of the top offenses like the Dolphins and the Niners. Their offense continues to be very good. Lamar obviously gonna probably win the MVP. Zay Flowers looking a lot better. Really, only weakness I could see is really their offensive passing game, which I'm still slightly not 100% confident about, and their running game. But their defense is stifling, and Lamar is the MVP. So they're definitely the number 1 team. So there you have it, my NFL divisional team power rankings.